The venue coordinator touched my shoulder gently. "Emmett, we need to start seating guests." I nodded, staring at the 15 empty chairs reserved for my family. My hands trembled as I adjusted my tie for the 100th time. Behind me, Jasmine's side of the small garden venue burst with life. Her parents, siblings, cousins, all chatting excitedly. My side? Crickets. Literally. We could hear them in the silence where my family should have been sitting. My phone buzzed. Mom's text read, "Sorry baby, but we're not coming. Uncle Donnell checked out the venue online and it's just too small for us. You know how we are about appearances. Maybe when you have a real wedding, we'll celebrate properly. Love you." I read it 3 times, each word burning deeper. Too small? We'd spent 8 months planning this intimate ceremony. Saved every penny. Jasmine squeezed my hand, her eyes glistening. "Emmett." I showed her the text. Her jaw clenched. "I'm so sorry, baby." My chest felt hollow. Not just Mom. Dad, my 2 sisters Keisha and Tamara, my brothers Jerome and Andre, Aunt Beverly, Uncle Donnell, cousins I'd grown up with, none of them came. All because our venue held 50 people instead of 200. The pianist began playing. Jasmine's father, Richard Brown, approached us. His expression was unreadable. "Emmett, son, are we ready?" I swallowed hard. "Yes, sir." But I wasn't. I was about to marry the love of my life while my entire family chose status over showing up. 6 months earlier, I'd been working double shifts at Henderson & Associates, a mid-tier accounting firm in downtown Chicago. The office was dead quiet that Friday night when she walked in, Jasmine Brown, transferred from the LA office. She wore a simple gray blazer, her hair in a no-nonsense ponytail, struggling with 3 boxes of files. "Need help?" I'd offered. She'd laughed, this genuine sound that filled the empty corridor. Desperately. "I'm Jasmine. Apparently, I'm the new senior analyst nobody told me started tonight." We spent that night organizing her office, talking about everything. Her love for terrible reality TV, my obsession with vintage vinyl records, her complicated relationship with her family's expectations. "They want me to be this perfect daughter," she'd said around midnight, sitting on her desk eating vending machine chips. "But I just want to be me, you know." I knew. God, did I know. My family had always made me feel like I wasn't successful enough, wasn't flashy enough. Mom constantly compared me to my cousin Derek, who drove a Lexus. Never mind that Derek was drowning in debt. Our first date was at this hole-in-the-wall Ethiopian restaurant. Jasmine ordered everything on the menu. "Life's too short for small portions," she grinned, injera bread hanging from her fingers. That night, walking her home, she'd stopped under a streetlight. "Emmett, I need to tell you something." My heart had dropped. Here it comes, I'd thought. "I really, really like you." She'd kissed me then, and the city disappeared. 3 months into dating, Jasmine invited me to Sunday dinner. "Just a warning," she said in the car, "my dad can be intense. And my mom will probably feed you until you explode. Oh, and my brother Timothy is extremely overprotective. And grandmother might ask invasive questions about your intentions." That's all. I joked, though my palms were sweating. The Brown house was in Lincoln Park, a nice brownstone, nothing extravagant. Richard answered the door, his handshake firm, eyes assessing. "Emmett. Heard a lot about you." Inside, the smell of roasted duck and ginger filled the air. Jasmine's mom, Linda, immediately pulled me into a hug. "Finally. She never brings anyone home. You must be special." Timothy, Jasmine's younger brother, gave me a complicated handshake hug thing. "Hurt my sister, I hurt you. We clear." Crystal. But Grandmother Brown was who intimidated me most. This tiny woman, maybe 4'9", sat in an armchair like an empress on a throne. She studied me silently for a full minute. "What are your intentions with my granddaughter?" "To make her happy, every single day." She'd smiled then, just slightly. "Good answer. Sit. Eat." That dinner, surrounded by warmth and laughter and family, I'd felt something I hadn't in years: belonging. Richard asked about my work, genuinely interested. Linda kept piling food on my plate. Timothy showed me his photography portfolio. This was what family dinners should feel like. Not competitions. Not comparisons. Just love. I'd made the mistake of bringing Jasmine to my family's Thanksgiving the week after. The moment we walked into Mom's house in Chatham, I felt the shift. My sister Keisha took one look at Jasmine and whispered to Tamara, loud enough for us to hear, "She's Asian? Emmett is dating an Asian girl." Mom's smile was tight. "Well, welcome, Jasmine. Make yourself comfortable." But comfortable was impossible. Uncle Donnell dominated conversation, bragging about his new Escalade. "Cost me $65,000, fully loaded. Can't be caught dead in anything less, you feel me?" Aunt Beverly showed off her new Gucci bag. $800, but worth every penny. Image is everything. Cousin Derek wouldn't shut up about his promotion. Regional manager now. Making 6 figures. Finally living right. Jasmine sat quietly beside me, and I watched her absorb the materialism, the competition, the way my family measured worth in dollar signs and status symbols. When she mentioned working in accounting, Tamara had laughed. "Oh, one of those calculator jobs? Emmett does that too. We keep telling him to get into something more impressive." Jerome, my younger brother, smirked. "Yeah, man, when you gonna level up? Get a real career." I felt Jasmine's hand tighten on mine under the table. Later, in the car, she was quiet. "Your family is different from mine." "I'm sorry. They're exhausting," she finished. "Emmett, they spent 3 hours talking about money and things. Not once did they ask about us, our relationship, our lives. It was like we weren't even there." I'd been saving for months, working extra freelance gigs. Not for a massive ring, Jasmine wasn't like that, but for something meaningful. I found it at this small jeweler in Pilsen, a vintage sapphire ring, delicate gold band, beautiful without being ostentatious. The jeweler, an old man named Samuel, had smiled. "For someone special. The most special." I proposed at the harbor, sunset painting the sky orange and purple. "Jasmine Brown, you walked into my life during a late night at work and changed everything. You see me, not what I have, not what I drive, not my job title, just me. You make me want to be better, not for appearances, but because you deserve the best version of me. Will you marry me?" She'd cried, nodding frantically. "Yes. God, yes." When I called Mom to share the news, her first question wasn't congratulations. "What kind of ring? How many carats?" "It's a sapphire, Mom. Vintage. It's perfect for her." Silence. Then, "A sapphire? Emmett, baby, everybody knows diamonds are what you're supposed to get. What's her family gonna think? And vintage? That's just used jewelry." My jaw clenched. "She loves it, Mom. That's what matters." "If you say so. Well, send pictures. We'll see." Dad wasn't much better. "Congratulations, son. Now, about this wedding. You planning something nice? Because the Millers are talking about how they spent $40,000 on Brittany's wedding. We can't look cheap in comparison." "Dad, it's our wedding, not a competition." "Everything's a competition, Emmett. When you gonna learn that?" Jasmine wanted simple, garden ceremony, close friends and family, meaningful vows, good food, great music. We found a beautiful venue in Oak Park, small but elegant, that fit our budget of $15,000. Mom nearly had a heart attack. $15,000? Emmett, that's embarrassing. Keisha's wedding cost $35,000, and that was considered modest. What will people say? They'll say we had a beautiful wedding celebrating our love. Love don't pay bills, and it don't earn respect, Uncle Donnell added during one family dinner. You need to show out, nephew. Show people you're doing something with your life. Tamara chimed in, plus, an intimate wedding? That's code for we're broke. Just saying. Even Jerome, who barely had 2 pennies to rub together, felt qualified to comment. Man, I know you're trying to be all humble and whatever, but this ain't it. You marrying into an Asian family, they probably expecting something grand. You're gonna embarrass yourself. I'd bitten my tongue so many times it should have fallen off. Jasmine, meanwhile, was excited. Her family embraced our vision. Richard offered to help with catering costs. Linda was designing the floral arrangements herself. Timothy was handling photography. Grandmother Brown gave us her blessing. A wedding celebrates love, not bank accounts. You have my approval. But with each family gathering, my relatives grew more vocal about their disappointment. 50 people? That's it. Aunt Beverly scoffed. I have 50 people just in my phone favorites. The breaking point came 6 weeks before the wedding. We were having dinner at Mom's, Jasmine, me, and the whole family. Mom served her famous pot roast, but the atmosphere was tense. So, Keisha started, we've been talking about this wedding situation. Jasmine glanced at me nervously. I squeezed her hand. Tamara continued, we think you should postpone. Plan something bigger, better, more appropriate for our family's standing. Our standing. I repeated slowly. Dad jumped in. Son, we're known in this community. The Miller family, we have a reputation. Your grandmother, God rest her soul, was a pillar of Chatham. Your grandfather worked for the city for 30 years. We're respected. This small wedding, it reflects poorly. On who? My voice was rising. On us. Mom's voice cracked. Emmett, baby, we love you. But we can't support this wedding the way it is. It's beneath us, beneath you, beneath what you should be aiming for. Jasmine spoke up, her voice steady but cold. Mrs. Miller, with all due respect, this is our wedding. We've chosen what feels right for us. Aunt Beverly laughed, actually laughed. Honey, no offense, but you're marrying into this family. Our traditions, our standards matter. Then maybe those standards need examining, Jasmine shot back. The room went silent. Uncle Donnell stood up. Listen here, young lady. No, you listen. I stood too, my chair scraping loudly. I'm tired of this. Tired of the judgment, the materialism, the constant need to prove worth through money and appearances. Jasmine is my family now. Mom's face crumpled. So we're not your family anymore? After everything we've done for you? You're choosing her over us. Keisha's voice was sharp. Over your own blood. I looked at each of them, Mom, Dad, my siblings, my aunt and uncle. People I'd loved my whole life. People who'd never quite made me feel enough. I'm choosing love over toxicity. I'm choosing authenticity over appearances. And if you can't accept that, if you can't show up for one day to celebrate the most important moment of my life because the venue isn't impressive enough. I paused, feeling Jasmine's hand in mine. Then maybe you're right. Maybe we're not family anymore. Jerome laughed bitterly. Man, you're really gonna regret this. When she leaves you, and she will, don't come crying to us. I won't, Jasmine said quietly. Because I'm not leaving him. Ever. We left that night, and I didn't look back. The next few weeks were hell. My phone blew up with messages, some apologetic, mostly defensive. Keisha, you're being manipulated. She's turning you against your family. Tamara, Mom is devastated. Hope you're happy. Uncle Donnell, real men don't abandon their blood for some girl. But some messages cut deeper. Mom sent a long text explaining how hurt she was, how I was throwing away my heritage, how Grandmother Miller would be ashamed. Dad simply wrote, when you come to your senses, we'll talk. The only one who reached out with genuine concern was my cousin Aliyah, Donnell's daughter. Emmett, I get it. I know how they can be. I'm sorry. I'll be at your wedding, I promise. Wedding day arrived with Aliyah's text, I'm so sorry. Dad found out I was planning to come and threatened to cut me off financially. I'm still in college, I can't afford to lose his support. Please forgive me. So there I stood, 15 empty chairs, trying not to fall apart. The ceremony was beautiful despite the gaping absence. Jasmine's vows made me cry. Emmett Miller, you taught me that family isn't about blood or status. It's about showing up. It's about choosing each other, every single day. You showed up for me when your own family wouldn't show up for you. That's the kind of man I want to spend my life with. When I slipped the ring on her finger, I felt Richard's hand on my shoulder. After the ceremony, he pulled me aside. Emmett, I need to be honest with you about something. Something Jasmine made me promise not to tell you until after the wedding. My stomach dropped. What? The wedding budget, the $15,000 you saved? I want you to know that showed incredible character. You worked hard, saved responsibly, and planned something beautiful within your means. Sir, but I need to show you something. He led me to a room off the garden venue where Linda and Timothy waited. Timothy handed me a folder. What is this? Open it, Linda said gently. Inside were documents, corporation papers, financial statements, property deeds. My hands started shaking as I read. Brown Holdings. Brown International Properties. Brown Investment Group. Numbers. Big numbers. Billions. I don't understand. Richard sat down, gesturing for me to do the same. Emmett, my family owns Brown Holdings International. We're one of the largest commercial real estate development companies in North America. Hotels, shopping centers, office buildings across 12 countries. We're worth approximately $3.2 billion. The room spun. What? Linda continued, when Jasmine met you, she was working at Henderson & Associates because she wanted to build her career independently. Not because of our name, not because of connections, but through her own merit. She's brilliant at what she does, and she wanted to prove that without our influence. We have a rule in our family, Richard said. Our children must make their own way first. Earn their independence, their confidence, their identity separate from wealth. Jasmine chose accounting. Timothy chose photography. They work regular jobs, live modestly, build character. Timothy added, Jazz didn't tell you because she wanted you to love her for her. Not for what our family has. She's been burned before, guys who only saw dollar signs when they looked at her. Every person she dated before you, Linda's voice was soft. Once they found out about our wealth, they changed. Suddenly they needed expensive gifts, wanted fancy restaurants, dropped hints about luxury vacations. It was never about Jasmine anymore. It was about access. I thought about our dates, Ethiopian restaurants, vinyl record stores, walks by the harbor, movie nights on her couch. Real. Simple. Perfect. You never once asked about her family's finances, Richard said. Never tried to impress us with false pretenses. You worked 2 jobs to save for a ring. You planned a wedding within your budget. We've been watching you, Emmett, Richard continued. The way you treat our daughter. The grace you showed when your family disrespected your choices. The integrity you maintain despite their pressure. That's rare. That's valuable. That's the kind of man we want in our family. Jasmine appeared in the doorway, still in her wedding dress, tears streaming down her face. I'm sorry I didn't tell you. I was scared. Scared you'd change, scared you'd see me differently, scared I'd lose the one genuine thing I'd found. I stood, pulled her close. Jasmine, I married you. Not your family's money. You. The woman who stayed late organizing files with me. Who orders too much food and laughs at terrible reality TV. Who sees me. Richard stood too. Which brings me to my actual gift. Not just paying for the wedding, which we did, by the way. The venue, the catering, everything. You'll get your $15,000 back. Sir, I can't accept. You can and you will. But there's more. Linda. Linda pulled out another folder. We own the Westbrook Tower downtown. 15 floors of office space. We're offering you the position of Chief Financial Officer for Brown Holdings Midwest Division. Starting salary, $275,000 annually, plus benefits, bonus structure, and equity options. My legs nearly gave out. CFO? I'm just a senior analyst. You're a senior analyst because you haven't been given the opportunity to be more, Timothy interjected. I've seen your work. Jazz showed me your portfolio. You're brilliant, Emmett. You've been hidden at a mid-tier firm because you didn't have connections. Now you do. The wedding photos went viral, not because we planned it, but because someone from Jasmine's side posted them. Beautiful images of our intimate ceremony, Jasmine and me laughing, her family embracing me, the joy evident in every frame. By Monday morning, my phone exploded. Messages from everyone who'd refused to attend. Mom, Emmett, baby, I saw the pictures. It looked beautiful. Can we talk? Keisha, so I'm hearing things about Jasmine's family? Is it true? Call me ASAP. Tamara, we need to have a family meeting. Urgent. Uncle Donnell, nephew, been thinking about what I said. Maybe I was too harsh. Let's catch up. Even Jerome, yo, man, congratulations on the wedding. And the new job I heard about. That's major. Aunt Beverly's message was the most transparent. Emmett, honey, I always knew you'd do well for yourself. When can we meet your new wife properly? We'd love to have you both over for dinner. I showed Jasmine the messages. She read them, her expression darkening with each one. They found out about my family's money. Seems like it. And now suddenly they're interested. I deleted every message without responding. By Tuesday, Mom showed up at our apartment, a modest 2-bedroom we'd shared before the wedding. We were packing, preparing to move to the penthouse Richard and Linda owned in the Gold Coast that they'd offered us. Emmett, open up. I know you're in there. Jasmine looked at me. Your call, baby. I opened the door. Mom stood there, dressed in her Sunday best, smile wide. Baby. Oh, baby, I've missed you so much. She tried to hug me. I stepped back. Mom, why are you here? Because you're my son. Because I love you. Because I want to apologize for missing your wedding. We made a mistake, a huge mistake, and we want to make it right. Maybe we could have a reception? Something bigger, let everyone celebrate properly. Behind her, Dad's Mercedes pulled up. Then Keisha's Lexus. Tamara's BMW. The whole family had come. Jasmine stood beside me, her hand in mine. No, I said simply. Mom's face fell. No. You didn't come to my wedding because you thought it was too small, too beneath your standards. You didn't show up because you were embarrassed by my choices. And now you're here because you found out my wife's family has money. Dad stepped forward. Son, that's not fair, isn't it? My voice was steady, calm, powerful. For years, you made me feel like I wasn't enough. Not successful enough, not flashy enough, not impressive enough. You measured my worth by my car, my salary, my appearance. And when I found someone who loved me for me, you couldn't even show up for one day. We didn't know, Keisha started. Exactly, Jasmine cut in. You didn't know. And that's the point. Emmett was the same man before and after you learned about my family's wealth. But your treatment of him changed. That tells us everything we need to know about your values. Uncle Donnell pushed forward. Now hold on. No, you hold on, I said. I spent my whole life chasing your approval. Trying to measure up to standards that had nothing to do with character, integrity, or love. I'm done. Jasmine's family showed me what real family looks like. They showed up. They celebrated our choices. They valued who we are, not what we have. I looked at each of them, Mom's tears, Dad's shock, my siblings' disbelief. My wedding had 50 people. 50 people who genuinely loved us and wanted to celebrate our union. You weren't among them. That was your choice. Now live with it. I closed the door. Through it, I heard Mom crying, Dad arguing, my siblings protesting. But for the first time in my life, I felt free. Jasmine wrapped her arms around me. I'm proud of you. They'll try again, I said. They'll keep trying. And we'll keep our boundaries. Together. The next week, we moved into the penthouse. Started my new position. Built a life based on authenticity, not appearances. 6 months later, Mom sent one final text. I understand now. I'm sorry. If you ever want to talk, I'm here. But I respect your decision. I love you. I never responded. But I saved the message. Maybe someday. Maybe. But today I was enough. Finally, completely, undeniably enough.